Let's settle the Marvin Harrison Jr. Malik Nabers debate once and for all. No one questions that these are two elite wide receiver prospects in the 2024 draft, but who's better? I have LSU's Malik Nabers graded just a bit higher than Marvin Harrison Jr., and here's why: yards after the catch. And that's not just my observation. Let's dive into the numbers with these two receivers as it pertains to yards after the catch. Over the last two seasons, Nabers' forced missed tackle rate was nearly 32%, and Harrison's was under 10%. So your eyes are not deceiving you when you watch these two receivers back to back and you see Nabers making more defenders miss and just hitting bigger plays after the football is in his hands. And I am a huge advocate for yards after the catch really ruling today's NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers are the NFL's two best yards after the catch teams. To me, that's no surprise they have been so successful over the last 5 to 7 years, especially on the offensive side. Now, if you don't value yards after the catch quite as highly as I do, then I can completely see being higher on Marvin Harrison Jr. Because when it comes to running the full route tree from the perimeter, Harrison Jr. is ahead of Malik Nabers in that regard. A higher percentage of his snaps were taken on the boundary, and in watching the film, you will notice a much bigger variety of routes run by Harrison Jr. than Nabers in that LSU offense. Harrison Jr. is a little bigger than Nabers, and there's an argument that he's a little better tracking the football down the field, although Nabers is certainly no slouch in that area either. So with Nabers, you are getting an elite yards after the catch wide receiver with insane explosiveness, great vertical speed, and the ability to go up and get it down the field. But he comes with not much experience running the full route tree and was utilized in the slot much more than Marvin Harrison Jr. And with the Ohio State receiver, a team is going to get someone with plenty of experience winning against press coverage on the boundary, getting down the football field, tracking it over his shoulder, or making leaping grabs near the sideline. Plus, he showed an ability, despite being over 6 foot and over 200 pounds, to create separation by his route running alone. And don't get me wrong, I understand how important route running is in the NFL. But Nabers has the skill set, the fluidity in his lower half, the explosion, the electric athletic profile to be an awesome separator in the NFL once he is allowed to run an entire route tree in the pros. So technically, there's a little bit of a higher floor with Marvin Harrison Jr., but because of the yards after the catch discrepancy, I think there's actually a higher ceiling with Malik Nabers. Again, these are two elite wide receiver prospects, but because of my affinity for yards after the catch and the difference in that phase of the game between these two receivers, I have Malik Nabers graded just ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr.